హాయ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్, వెల్కమ్ టు గౌరీస్మార్ట్ ఛానల్. నా ఛానల్ కనుక మీరు ఫస్ట్ టైం వచ్చినట్లయితే ఇక్కడ ఉన్న సబ్స్క్రైబ్ బటన్ని క్లిక్ చేయండి, పక్కన ఉన్న బెల్ ఐకాన్ని క్లిక్ చేయండి. సో ఇక్కడ మీకు ఆల్ నోటిఫికేషన్స్ వస్తాయి, ఈ ఆల్ నోటిఫికేషన్స్ క్లిక్ చేయండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Good morning children. Today we will discuss about microorganisms. All you know, the name is indicating that micro means small. Here organisms are small in the size, tiny in the size. That type of organisms are called microorganisms. You know, these microorganisms cannot be seen by our naked eyes. As they are very small in the size, we cannot see them with our naked eyes. We have to observe them under the microscope only. Here we have many types of microorganisms. For example, viruses, bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoa. Like this, many type of microorganisms are there in the world, but we cannot see them with our naked eyes. We have to observe them under the microscope. You know, in our daily life we can see pond water and drainage water and dust particles. Everywhere we can see some amount of microorganisms. Everywhere in the world, either it is air or soil or water and body parts of human beings and animals and plant bodies. Everywhere these microorganisms are usually grown up. Right. Let us discuss what are the types of microorganisms first. Here viruses and bacteria and fungi, algae, protozoa. These are all belongs to microorganisms. Let us discuss about viruses. Viruses are smallest microorganisms in the world. These are very small when compared with any type of microorganism, whether it is bacteria or fungi or protozoa, whatever it may be, but it is the smallest microorganism. So viruses are smallest microorganisms, and they have a cell wall around the body, and there is no cellular organelles within it. And you know, these are only grown whenever they enters into the microorganisms or any living organisms. For example, if it is a human being, whenever the virus enters into the human being, then only it will grow inside of the living body. If it is enters into the plant, then it will be grown up when the plant is alive. It will not or it cannot lives on the surface of the bodies. It only grows inner body parts only. In this way, the smallest microorganisms are viruses, and they can grow under the human body or any living bodies. Inside of the body only it can grow up, it can produces new offsprings or new generations. Let us discuss about bacteria. Bacteria also having the cell wall around them, like plant cells. You know, plant cells having cell walls around the cell. In the same way, bacteria also having a wall like structure. This is also called as a cell wall. So here in the viruses and bacteria are having cell walls around them. Small difference between the bacteria and virus. Bacteria can be live on the surface of the any living organism and also inside of the living organism. Whenever discuss about viruses, they can only grown up and reproduces whenever they are inside of the living organisms only. Right. Let us discuss the small differences between bacteria and viruses. Bacteria are prokaryotes. And somehow viruses also prokaryotes. But some bacteria multicellular organisms. Viruses are always unicellular organisms. Viruses are always unicellular organisms. Let us discuss about fungus. Fungi, either it is belongs to unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular or multicellular, which means uni means a single. Some fungus are unicellular, some are multicellular. And you know, some fungus may be seen with our naked eyes. For example, mushrooms. These are belongs to microorganisms, but sometimes some mushrooms can be seen with our naked eyes. Mushrooms are very well in protein material. Nowadays, everywhere in the market, we have been buy that for eating purpose. So mushrooms are big in the size when compared with any other fungus. So generally fungus is a microorganism, but mushroom is a little bit bigger than other one. That is why it is easily seen by our naked eyes. And algae. Some algae are unicellular, some are multicellular. Bacteria are living organisms, they are belongs to animals. Virus, there is no classification whether it is plant or animal. It is only living organism, it is not belongs to any plant or animal. Here fungus, it is also living organism, it is not belongs to any plant or animal. Here algae, it is belongs to plants. Algae belongs to plants. It is unicellular. Sometimes it is having some more number in the cells. That is why it is also belongs to multicellular. So some are unicellular, some are multicellular organisms are there in algae. The most important thing about the algae is some plants have root like system and stem like system and leaf like system. When we observe the algae, some parts of the just look like a root and stem and leaf, but they are not true root and true stem and true leaf. It is only looking like a plant, but it is not completely belongs to plant. Some parts of them are looking like root and stem and leaf, but they are not true. So here in the algae, there is no true leaf, true stem, true root system. Clear? Protozoans. All protozoans are unicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms, which means all the organisms are composed with only single cell. For example, amoeba, paramecium, euglena, chlamydomonas, these are best example for protozoans. These are all belongs to unicellular organisms, and they usually appears in water, whether it is pond water or sea water or canal water, whatever it may be. It is mostly seen in water only. So we discussed generally what are the types of microorganisms. Viruses and bacteria, fungus and algae and protozoa are major types of microorganisms. Let us discuss what are the uses of microorganisms. What are the uses of microorganisms? What are the uses of microorganisms? Some are useful in household works, some are used in medicine preparation, so some have medicinal importances. Some are useful in preparation of what you call nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation. Let us discuss one by one. So household works and the medicinal importances and nitrogen fixation, all these are belongs to microorganisms. So we are going to discuss about uses of microorganisms. Let us discuss first one, household works. Some microorganisms are generally used in preparation of idli and dosa, and also preparation of the alcohol. You know, alcohol is most important thing for nowadays society. Nowadays in the society, most of the Indians, for example, 50% people are there in a village. Among them, 40% people are drinking alcohol. That is why all the industries which are belongs to alcohol preparation, they are getting more amount and more profits. So here alcohol preparation is most important in our society now, right now. Alcohol, for example, grape and also cashew fruits, these are generally used for few days for the preservation purpose. When they preserve for a few days, 4 days or 5 days or 1 week, then it will release some amount of ethanol. With the help of this ethanol, generally industries making ethyl alcohol. So ethanol also a name for the ethyl alcohol. Here in the industries, generally whenever the persons preserve these fruits, for example grapes and cashew fruits, then it will be releases ethanol. This ethanol is mostly drinking by public right now. So for the preparation of the ethanol, some fungi is very useful. So fungus are mostly useful in the preparation of the alcohol. And second thing, preparation of the idli and dosa. For these things, two things also, microorganisms are mostly useful. For example, whenever we ground some pulses, then it will be comes into a powder like structure. Then we have to add some amount of water in that. Then dough will become. This dough we have to preserve for 12 to 24 hours. Then if you going for the preparation of the idli and dosa, then idli and dosa will become in a proper way. So for the preparation of the idli and dosa, dough is very important. So dough must be having ethanol smell. Whenever the dough have the ethanol smell, then idli and dosa will come in a proper way. That is why the preparation of the idli and dosa also depend on the microorganisms. So here the microorganisms are helping in the preparation of the idli and dosa and preparation of the alcohol. So these are belongs to household works. So for the preparation of alcohol and idli and dosa. Let us discuss about medicinal importances. Some fungi and bacteria are helping in preparation of medicines. For example, all you know that penicillin, this is best medicine for the itching and scabies. So for the preparation of the scabies and itching, penicillin medicine is very important. For the preparation of the medicine, penicillium fungi is essential, are required. Penicillium. So here the fungi named penicillium is helping in the preparation of the penicillin medicine. This penicillin medicine is helpful for the treatment of the scabies and itching. So here in this statement I am telling you that some fungus are useful for the preparation of the medicine. Okay, and also some bacteria are helping in preparation of tetracycline. tetramycin, like this. So some bacteria and fungus are helping in the preparation of the medicine. So here I would like to conclude, microorganisms are not only harming, they are also helping us in the preparation of the medicines and also are doing some household works. Let us discuss the third one, nitrogen fixation. You know, for the better growth of the plant, it needs much amount of nitrogen. If it is a plant, it required much amount of nitrogen, N2. Some type of bacteria, for example, rhizobium. This bacteria usually seen in roots of the leguminaceous plants. Leguminaceous plants are legume plants. So this bacteria usually stores the nitrogen. It synthesizes or gather the nitrogen from the atmosphere and stores the nitrogen in the root nodules of the legume plants. Then this plant will be used the nitrogen which is stored by the rhizobium plants in the roots, and it will be grow in a proper way. So for the better growth of the legume plants, nitrogen is required. This nitrogen will be stored by the rhizobium bacteria in root nodules of the plant. So in this way, for the preparation of the nitrogen and also fixation of the nitrogen, some bacteria is important. So for the fixation of the nitrogen, some bacteria are very important. That is why this type of bacteria is also used or useful, as we discussed about the uses of the microorganisms. Not only rhizobium, azotobacter is also a bacteria which can store the nitrogen in the root nodules. So azotobacter and rhizobium are best example for the nitrogen fixating bacteria. Okay, so in this way, some microorganisms are helping plants and human beings and other animals too. Let us discuss what are the disadvantages of the microorganisms. Disadvantages. Disadvantages of the microorganisms are harmful organisms. Let us discuss one by one. First we have to discuss about human beings or humans or cattle. After that cattle, after that plants. Let us discuss about what are the disadvantages of the microorganisms in the view of human beings. You know, measles and leprosy, tuberculosis, polio, malaria, typhoid, cholera, and hepatitis B. These are common diseases caused by microorganisms. Let us discuss by which type of microorganisms this type of diseases are occurring. Measles are due to viruses. Hepatitis B due to viruses. Leprosy, bacteria. Mycobacterium leprae. The bacteria name is Mycobacteria leprae. And tuberculosis, this is also belongs to bacteria. So bacteria are causing a tuberculosis. The bacteria name is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Polio. This is also caused by viruses. And malaria. This is caused by protozoans. Plasmodia. The protozoan name is Plasmodia or Plasmodium. And typhoid. This is caused by bacteria. Cholera. This is also caused by bacteria. The bacteria name is Vibrio cholera. A typhoid bacteria name is Salmonella typhi. So in this way, some viruses and bacteria and protozoans are causing different type of diseases in human beings. So in this way, we can consider microorganisms also harmful organisms. Not only these one, many type of microorganisms are there in the atmosphere. They may differ in the structure, they may differ in the causing a different type of diseases. Okay, so here measles due to the cause of viruses, hepatitis B, it is also caused by viruses, leprosy, bacteria, Mycobacterium leprae, tuberculosis, it is also bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, polio, it is appearing in the child days, in the children, polio, it is also caused by viruses, and malaria, protozoan called Plasmodium. The Plasmodium is generally 4 types. This is not right time for the discuss about 4 types. Typhoid, bacteria, Salmonella typhi, and cholera, it is also caused by bacteria. The bacteria name is Vibrio cholera. So here we discussed about the diseases occurring by the microorganisms in the human beings. Let us discuss about what type of disease occurring by the microorganism in the cattle. For example, anthrax disease. This is happening or appearing in the cattle, and also foot and mouth disease. This is also appearing in cattle. So different type of diseases are occurring by the microorganisms. So here by the microorganisms, not only human beings, all the cattle are suffering. Let us discuss about diseases in the plants by the microorganisms. Citrus canker. It is happening by the bacteria in the citrus plants, oranges and nimbu, like that. And also red rot disease of sugarcane. This is also caused by fungus. So in this way, so plants also are having difficulty situations by the microorganisms. Why? Because these microorganisms are causing some type of disease in them. For example, citrus canker, it is appearing in the citrus plants. So it is causing by the bacteria. And red dot disease of the sugarcane. So this disease occurring in the sugarcane plant due to fungus. So here in this way, humans and cattle and plants are having some problems with the microorganisms. Why? Because they are making occurring some diseases within them. So along with this, some type of microorganisms like bacteria and fungus and viruses are helping in preparation of antibodies, antibiotics, and also vaccines. So for the preparation of the antibiotics and the vaccines, some bacteria and fungus and viruses are helping. So in this way, some microorganisms are helping us and some microorganisms are making some disease within human beings and cattle and plants. So some are useful, some are harmful. And you know, the most difficult situation for the household people, for example, our mothers are having some problems with microorganisms for the preservation or storing the food materials. For example, if we keep out the food material outside of the kitchen room or cupboard anywhere, then the food may be spoils within minute, because everywhere in the world, for example in the air, in the water, in the food and surface of the human bodies, everywhere there are some type of microorganisms. So if we kept the food material outside of wardrobes and kitchens and whenever we placed outside, then the food material easily spoils because some type of microorganisms are there and easily the food will be spoiled by them. So that is why it is very difficult situation for the mothers to preserving the food materials. So that is why they used to keep the food materials in the fridges. Okay, which means for the preservation of the food materials we have to follow two things. First one is cooling, second one is heating. When we kept the food material in the cool place, then the bacteria or virus or any type of microorganism will not be grow there, then the food materials will not spoil. And also if we heat the material, if we heat the food material, the bacteria or fungus or viruses or whatever it may be in the food material, that will be dies and food material will be good in the taste and looking. So here in the way two things are there. First one is cooking, second one is heating. In these two ways we can preserve the food materials in the home. This is the first method of the preserving the food material. First one is cooling, which means if we kept the food material in the cool places, for example if we keep the material in the fridge, the food material will not be spoils. If we heat the material, then the microorganisms which is in the present in the food material will be dies and food will be healthy. And also the second thing for the preservation of the food material is drying. So drying is one type of preservating method of the food material. In this way we use to dry the food material by keeping them in the sunshine. For example, fishes or pulses and fruits, dry fruits and dry fishes and dry nuts. So these are all dried with the help of the sunshine. Whenever they dries with the help of sunshine, then there is no water in the pulse or fish material or fruits, then the food material will be healthy, it will not be spoiled. So the simple thing is, if the food material contain the water, it will be easily contaminates, easily spoils. Whenever we remove the water in the food material, it will stored more time or long time. Okay, so drying is the best method in the villages. They use it to dry the fruits and food materials like fishes and also pulses. Then the water will be evaporates from them from that type of food material, and then the food may be stores long time. And third thing, adding salt and oil. This is also one type of method in the storing of food materials. For example, mango mango fruit. Whenever if you want to store the raw mango, we can't store it more than 7 days or 10 days. It will be spoils after that time. If we cut the mango into pieces, if we add salt and the oil, then it can store up to 1 year. So this is the one type of method in the storing of food material. If we add salt and the oil, then there is no microorganism can be store can be grow where we place them. So this is also a best what you call this, this is also a best way to preserve the food materials. Why we should preserve the food material? For the future uses of food materials. For example, we have 1 kg of rice right now. We can't eat the entire 1 kg rice today. That is why I have to store that food material for the further use. So in this way, for the future use, you have to store the food materials by inhibiting or avoiding growth of the microorganisms. So by drying and keep adding salt and oils, we can inhibit the microorganisms in the food material. So this is the microorganisms lesson. Thank you one and all.